Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sound Off with System One. I am your host, Karen Callahan, System One's Content and Communications Marketing Manager. System One is a leading provider of specialized, highly technical outsourced services and workforce solutions to critical infrastructure, technology, life sciences, and government sectors, putting more than 11,000 employees, contractors, and consultants to work in the US, Canada, and the UK daily. Welcome, and please, while you're joining the broadcast, drop us a note in the comments section. Let us know where you're joining from and what industry you're in. We have Ali and Rich moderating the comments section and dropping everyone's contact information in there as well. So please feel free to connect with all of us. And today I am here with Marc Zamsky, CEO of Cimplifi, a leading integrated legal services provider, leveraging technology and expertise to simplify the experience of eDiscovery and contract analytics for corporate legal departments and law firms. So welcome, Marc.
Hey, Karen, how are you? Thank you so much for having me here today.
We are so excited. So we really appreciate you coming here to talk with us today. And I start every interview with, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm Marc Zamsky. I am the CEO of Cimplifi. I've been here at System One and Cimplifi for almost 10 years. I've actually worked with Troy Gregory for almost 21 years. I've known him since, so we started working together in 2001, back in the Hudson days. I'm a lawyer. I practiced law in Philadelphia for 4 years. I've been doing various roles in this industry for the last 27 years now.
It's so funny when I have people on here and they're like, since the Hudson days. It sounds like since the cowboy days we've been here. So
it was the Wild West. We had a lot of fun.
The Wild West of System One. So I'd like to start one of my first questions. I was watching, I think it was like a vlog it wasn't a podcast, but it was a video you were in. And you made an analogy to a book that many of us have read to our children when they were little. When you give a mouse a cookie, and you compared the narrative to your own industry. And I love the analogy, if you give a lawyer data. So I was wondering if you could expand upon that.
Yeah. So our industry has, first off, it was fun. It was a fun theme to do. And I actually did a second series using sort of that same theme. But the whole idea behind the analogy was that our industry is changing tremendously. So we went from, reviewing paper documents in litigations and investigations, right? You'd have attorneys sitting there at tables and flipping through or marking documents up, right, to find the best documents. And then everything became digitized and we started having review platforms. So now what's happening is AI and analytics is playing a huge role in our business. And so the whole idea of if you give a mouse a cookie or if you give a lawyer some data was about a platform that we created called Power CI. And it's actually based on Microsoft's Power BI. And what we're trying to do is encourage others in the industry, our clients, our corporate clients, to be able to harness their institutional data around law and to utilize it a lot more. So the whole idea was, the idea behind the book of if you give a mouse a cookie is they're always going to want something more, right? There's
exactly.
And then it plays itself around until the mouse wants
another cookie.
Right. And so the idea was that what we're doing is showing people how that if you start to use the data at your fingertips and harness it with these really powerful analytics tools, that you're going to want more data. You're never going to become satisfied. And it really is a long path in order to understand your data and harness it for business intelligence, because there's a trove of incredible data and information for lawyers, for law firms, for corporate legal departments, for government to be able to understand how they're utilizing counsel, how much they're spending, how are they working with providers, how efficient are they being, and we want our clients to be able to harness that data.
Excellent. And that's a powerful tool. And I'm envisioning like in the old, like my cousin Vinny, like rummaging through paper files and like, wait, judge, wait. How has messaging apps impacted eDiscovery?
Tremendously. So about let's call it like 10 years ago, everybody was full on digital. It was email, Word documents, the Microsoft Office 365 suite. People were mastering how do we collect the data? How do we ingest it and process it into a system so that it's readable and usable? And we really mastered how to do that. And a lot of our projects were based on those type of business documents and business communications. And every once in a while, maybe about 5 years ago, you'd have a cell phone collection, right? Someone said, hey, some of our users, they've got cell phone data. They're either replicating their email or they're using another program. And so there's specialized software that we use that we can capture an entire phone and ingest it along with email and other data. So the chat systems are really interesting because with chat, it's not a document. There is no custodian, right? You and I have a text exchange.
Yeah.
Who owns that exchange? Is it me? Is it you? What happens if you and I have a text communication and we never delete it over a period of 30 days? What does that document look like? And so collecting this data, understanding the data, trying to be able to review the data in a platform where you can review lots of other programs and have it look like it looks on your phone has been really, really challenging for companies like ours, for our industry as a whole. And the best innovators are coming up with ways to collect it better, review it better, search it better, display it better. And then the second phase of that is that specifically with cell phone applications, the operating systems are updating so quickly now, and these programs are updating to keep up with features in the operating systems, that the software that we need to use to be able to collect that data isn't able to keep up as fast. And so we're having to sometimes manually manipulate and alter files so that we can get them into a readable and usable format for our clients.
I never thought of that before because it's beyond just iPhone to iPhone message, text. To your point, it could be any messaging app. If people are like DMing through Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, there needs to be a way to harness that.
Yep. Slack, Teams, all of those. And the way when you look at it, it's incredible because like if you and I were to have a Teams chat and send a link to a document in Office 365, if we had a shared repository, the question, becomes like, well, does that document become a part of it? Is it just a link? Do you get that document downloaded? Do I have to go search it differently? And so there's different ways the different programs handle that. How does Slack handle it? What about, the messaging that's going on in this app? What about WhatsApp or other programs? So there's a lot that's going on, and it's become the bulk of, it's sort of like email and Microsoft 365 documents are now table stakes, and all of these messaging apps and phones and devices, that's becoming the real meat of these matters because that's how people communicate today.
Exactly. And then, they're so easy to manipulate. So there's that additional,
I don't know what you're talking about. No, none of our clients would ever manipulate their data.
No, it's definitely interesting because that is an ever-changing, messaging apps are an ever-changing, ever-evolving way to communicate nowadays. So you have to keep ahead of that. Your clients have the ability to control their eDiscovery environment as do-it-yourself or DIY. Why is that so important to them?
So our industry went through another change, right? Legal tends to lag a couple of years behind maybe the rest of big business in terms of its adoption of technology. And so while most industries adopted cloud technology years ago, legal is a little bit slower to adopt. So what happened is that in our business, you have infrastructure costs to host your software platforms, and then you have your platform cost, and those are typically needed for anyone that's involved in serial litigation, investigations, or other ways of looking at documents for legal matters. The use of like Adobe to go through 10 documents is not efficient, or using some standalone Microsoft Outlook to review email. You need a platform. And so there's costs that are involved with this or associated with this. And so what we did is we created the Cimplifi ecosystem. And with that, what we do is we have both cloud and server-based infrastructure. We have a number of software devices. And what we did is we wrote and developed a bunch of middleware innovations and integrations that allow our clients to control basically their infrastructure, their data, their software, and their entire workflow process as if they own that software, as if they own the infrastructure, as if they were the licensee. So why is that important? It's important because speed and responsiveness is incredibly important in our industry, right? We're dealing with law firms, lawyers, corporate legal departments, high stakes litigation, big matters. There's always deadlines. And so what happens is if clients get data or we need to get data from one of their clients, there's always handoffs, right? I've got to send the data here and then someone has to send the data and copy it somewhere and then it's got to get processed and then loaded into a platform. And then from the platform, it's got to get formatted so that someone can look at it. So there's all these steps, right? And normally the reason we're in business is because clients love to call us because they want our help. That's why Cimplifi exists. But clients also like to do certain things on their own. They like to control the process. They want to better understand their data. Sometimes there is that case where you only have 10 documents, or you want to process some data or ingest data on your own without having to call us because it's fast, it's quick, and you know what you're doing. So we give clients the ability to do that. So what it does is it reduces costs, it streamlines their process, it gives them a greater sense of control over their data and their workflow and their process, and also creates an opportunity for them to really get into the data and understand their matters better.
That's amazing. That is a lot. In 2021, you added a new practice. I think this is an acronym. It's called CALM, CALM.
Yes.
Do you mind telling us a little bit more about that group and why you're investing into that practice?
Yep. So CALM stands for Contract Analytics and Contract Lifecycle Management. And it's headed by our EVP for that group, Charles Post. He is just absolutely brilliant in terms of this business. So think about it this way. We work on litigation. And so we're looking at emails, and our computer platforms that we use in our business can look at 1 million emails, and I can search for a concept, and I can basically pull out all the emails that have that concept, sort of like a Google search, right?
Yeah.
But we do it with litigation data. And then there's lots of ways to analyze these things more sophisticated. But all you're doing is applying technology, analytics, algorithms to a digitized document. And so probably about 7 years ago, people started developing software saying, you know what? Contracts are a mess. You saw platforms come on like DocuSign, where you could have electronic signatures, or HelloSign, which is now, I think, Dropbox Sign. Even Adobe has a signature platform. And so there are a tremendous amount of efficiencies to be gained from electronically signing your documents. But so what these companies did is they said, well, this is a booming business. And so what happens is that there's two aspects of the CALM business. One is CLM, Contract Lifecycle Management. So what that is, I start with a document. I can basically put it into a platform. That platform understands what my document looks like, what its content is. You're able to analyze it as it goes through the negotiation and drafting process. And as you do that, it's able to flag your changes. It's even able to rate your changes. So if I send a contract off to another party and they come back and they strike out my limitation of liability and they want to pay in 120 days, I can build algorithms into software that when that contract comes back to me, it says, hey, Mark, guess what? These guys changed this term to 120 days and your payment terms are 30 days. And it does that automatically. It flags it for me. And it can rate all of the changes from decent changes that are acceptable to bad changes that we need to negotiate. And then we go through the electronic signature process. And then we get to the first part of that business, which is contract analytics. And basically what that does, it extracts in post-signature contracts all of the provisions that are important to you. So let's say I've been doing business with System One and I've sold you guys some software, and it's 3-year contract and it's 2 years and 2.5 years into the agreement. Well, I want to know, because I've got 1,000 System Ones, because I'm a really good salesperson. I want to know when all my contract renewals come due. And I want to know what pricing I gave you. And I want to know if there's an automatic renewal. And I want to know all of these different terms. So the contract analytics program ingests these contracts, and then it can basically spit that information back out to me. One of the first uses of it was for LIBOR. So, right, they've taken away LIBOR as a base interest point. And so they've replaced that. And so now all of these banks have had to go through billions of contracts to look for every single contract that has LIBOR as a base unit. And they've had to figure out what the process is to replace that based on what the contract says, because a lot of these contracts had provisions for it. And if there was no provision for it, they might have to repaper the contract. So this generated one of the first starts to people saying, how do I get through all of this paper and all this data? So that's what this practice group does. We don't sell software. We are a platinum partner with DocuSign because they have a really great engine for both contract lifecycle management and contract analytics, but we're pretty agnostic and have partnerships with other software providers. And so when our clients, our companies buy software and implement it, we help them make it better. We help write models. We help them use AI. We help them determine the use cases and figure out how to look at their contracts for those use cases so people can actually leverage their data and understand their risks and opportunities.
Do you see the question below? We have a question from the audience.
Yeah, thanks. That's a great question. So probably about 10 years ago, one of the hottest industries for our business was pharmaceutical. There were just tons of pharmaceutical cases, right? You take like the opioid cases today. It's probably one of the largest litigations to hit. So typically what we see are pharmaceutical companies probably are the largest target for lawsuits, just because there's everything from patent issues all the way through consumer or product or other liability issues. The second place where we see is in any time there's a merger or acquisition, right? I'm sure everyone has read the news and they see that like Kroger and Albertsons are going to merge. Everyone's up in arms about it. So what this triggers under a federal act is a review of everything that's going on. So there's millions, if not billions, of documents that are involved from both of these companies that the government might want to say, is this competitive? So in a merger and acquisition, we get involved in a lot of those types of cases. We've become specialists in it. As a matter of fact, when our company started 25 years ago, that was our specialty, was running what was called second requests, which is the government taking a second look, a deeper dive to make sure there's no anti-competitive behavior between two entities merging. So those are probably the two largest industries with the largest amount of documents. We see low amounts in healthcare and insurance, believe it or not. And I would say that, manufacturing, technology, and other, emerging industries have a lot of data. And then, of course, contracts. Everybody has contracts.
Yes, absolutely. That's a wealth of information. And I think we may have touched upon this already, maybe in the beginning of our conversation, but recently you announced the release of CI Zip. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about more of what that entails.
Yes. So CI Zip is part of that ecosystem that I was talking about earlier, the Cimplifi ecosystem and our CI tools. It's our CI innovation. CI stands for Compliance Innovations, or Cimplifi Innovations. Our name used to be Compliance, so I slip up every once in a while since I've been here for 10 years. So Cimplifi Innovations. And there's a whole list of things that we've created for our clients and for our internal teams to make workflows more efficient. So CI Zip is a tool that we make available for clients that are specifically called partner of record clients. Those are clients that contract directly with a software provider. So we partner with folks like Relativity and Disco. Folks that contract directly with them, they hire us to service their environment, to service their cases, because we have project managers and other data specialists that know these platforms and know how to run these workflows. CI Zip is a package that allows them to download data, or our team to help download data without storing it onto our environment and give them a deliverable. So basically, it's a workflow improvement. And overall, we actually launched another product around that called Unify and Unify Plus. And again, these are platforms that we're using. They're sort of names for our entire, providing our ecosystem and our professional services to our clients that don't want us to host their data, but they want to host their own data. And CI Zip is just one of those workflows that allows them to use us more efficiently when they're hosting their own data.
Excellent. That I'm telling you, you are a wealth of information, and the fact that you're able to
drink with me one of these days, see what happens, see what I tell you.
Okay, I am forbidden by the spirits of my ancestors to end a broadcast without asking my proverbial future crystal ball question. So, what lies ahead for Cimplifi?
Yeah. So there's a couple of things. One, and first and foremost, is investing and continuing to grow that Calm business, contract analytics and contract lifecycle management. That means expanding our team, expanding our software partnerships, expanding our breadth and depth of knowledge into managed services, more consulting work, and expanding beyond industries. Banks take up about 80% of the work in that business. And we're starting to see more and more, like health and life sciences, start to really explore that. And so we're seeing it across multiple industries now. So continued expansion of our Calm group. The second is investing in our internal resources. Our team provides a service to our clients, right? Hosting has become like, everyone can host their data. So the magic for us is the ability to provide excellent top-tier professional services to our clients, creative workflows, using our own workflows, our own innovations, and the tools that we've built that make us really unique. And so it's continuing to invest in that. And then the third is investing in our technology, specifically around AI. We want to continue to do more global searching capabilities. We want to do more data storage and reuse capabilities. We want to be able for clients to come to us, have all their data in one place, contracts, litigation data, merger and acquisitions, investigations, and to be able to access it all, search it all, understand it all, and reuse it all, and be able to reuse whatever work product they've used in other cases or at other times. So those are, I would say, the three key areas that we wanted to invest in as we move forward over, I would say, the next 2-3 years.
Well, everything you have said about Cimplifi is exciting. It's innovative. Again, exciting, and it's really a breath of fresh air to have a leader who's so passionate about the service that's provided, which is all you need to know.
I love it. I love what we do, and I love this company, and we will continue to grow and innovate.
Well, that's what's so exciting. So thank you again. Phenomenal. Thank you for joining our broadcast. And that, my friends, is all we have for this week and for the year, for that matter. So, Marc, you are our last sound off for
finished off with a bang. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, everyone, to the entire System One team for helping set this up. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So in the meantime, as a reminder, all of our episodes of Sound Off with System One can be found on our YouTube channel, along with videos that contain expert career and job search tips, hiring manager best practices, leadership insights, industry insights, and more. So we will see everyone again in 2023. My co-host Ali Moen and I have a lot of great topics that we will be diving into, including how companies can overcome workforce challenges. And I believe Ali's first episode of the new year will talk about for job seekers, the skills you need to cultivate to be competitive in 2023. I was tripping over my words there. And on that note, happiest of holidays to everybody, and we will see you next year.
Thank you.